well, in the same vein of everything, we got the HAPs. So what's the HAPs? That's the question. What's the HAPs? That's that's slang for what's happening, right? No, no, not the old TV show. What's happening? What's happening now? The HAPs, and that's to me, it's an acronym for Hollywood and politics, right? So let's stay on the same subject line. Women who are accused of sexual assault. This is something I've been saying. I might not have said it on this show. I think I have. Maybe I have not. But I've been saying for a long time since Aziz Ansari was accused, and there's some gray areas on this. Some people feel like he shouldn't be hurt by this. Some people say he definitely should. And there's some people out there who don't care if someone who is accused gets accused and gets their reputation tarnished. If it means that people who actually are guilty of these things get hit, then people who are innocent of it, I don't. They say I don't care. And that's wrong. Like, you know how many people in the world have been lynched for false accusations? Tubbs was killed, and that girl lied about getting whistled at, and that little boy was murdered, dragged out of his home and murdered. But it launched the civil rights movement. So, I mean, but she lied. That boy didn't have to die. But so when somebody gets accused, and in the Me Too movement, you're supposed to believe the accuser. All you see, if 9 times out of 10, you're going to see is a man who did something against a woman, because 9 times out of 10, that's exactly what happened. But people in power in general, absolute power corrupts absolute. You do see, there are movies and there are stories out there where women in power treat men like dogs. Hell, Demi Moore and Michael Douglas. I mean, she was lying her butt off and sexually assaulting him. These things have happened in the business world. They're not reported as much because men are ashamed of being looked at in a certain way. The stigma on men is a little bit different, where women who are treated this way and because of that stigma of being a macho man and whatnot, men are known to suppress a woman's voice when they have a legitimate accusation. But in the reverse situation, when a woman is in a powerful situation and a man is put in the subordinate and inferior situation and is taking advantage of by a powerful woman, men are silent and they report it less because they are afraid of being looked at as weak by other men. It's the wheel just keeps going round and round and round. But I've been saying for a long time, for the Me Too movement to have legitimacy, the women that have been accused of these things in powerful positions in Hollywood, wherever it is, actresses, actors, and whatnot. That's why, hey, maybe this is why Asia Argento is now coming up and this. Hell, Alyssa Mack from Smallville was trying to recruit women to be sex slaves in this cult. That's sexual assault. Man, that's aggressive. Am I right about it? Because she went down for that, right? And there was a lot of actresses that came out of the woodworks against her. Like, yeah, that was kind of weird, man. She was weird. She was going to try to brand me and do these things to me. And these stories aren't new. I'm still to this day shocked at how many women are getting arrested for having sex with a minor, from being a teacher or whatever the situation is. I'm fascinated with that story, and probably at a very, very distasteful level. But that phenomenon fascinates me. The fact that more and more teachers, I mean, because this stuff used to go on for years and years and years. There were local stories, word around the town. People talked about it. The accusers would face the accused, years later and all that. But or parents that found out about it would beat the crap out of some dude, But it stayed mostly local. Then all of a sudden, with TV cameras and broadcasting, radio, and all that stuff, and the story started to get out more, newspapers, things like that. When the internet comes out, it boom, social media, boom, it explodes. And now it feels like all you're seeing it's like a teacher of the week, a villain of the week, of somebody in Florida or whatever the state is in Utah, of a teacher, usually blonde for the most part, weird, right? But women of all and men of all shapes and sizes and color and whatnot are all doing it. Have done it. But I'm not. There's a lot of them who dye their hair blondes for some weird reason. I'm just gonna call it like I say. Like I'm gonna call it like I saw it. It's just weird. And how many of these people are getting caught doing this, and they're still doing it? The one I think it was the Tampa one where the husband was like listening to the recorded conversation that the student had with his ex-wife, and she was like, "Promise you're not gonna tell nobody when I give you this, right?" And she was like, "Pinky promise." Like even he said, dude, even her voice sounded way off. There's something in the brain that's right there's like they're missing something. They felt like they lost something. Maybe they weren't as popular. They felt like they should have been, or maybe they were the most popular person in school back in the day, and they're trying to recapture that by sneaking around with his boy. He flirt. I'm his teacher. He gave me that look, and he had that Letterman jacket on, and I've always wanted to give it to do with the Letterman jacket. And you know what? I give you this. Just don't tell nobody. That's when you know you're gonna get caught. When you tell a 16-year-old boy, just don't tell nobody. Dude, if you haven't seen Saturday Night Live, the sketch with the teacher sex scandal, that sums it up perfectly. I couldn't wait to tell everybody. They're gonna tell. I'm 16 years old. You know how many teachers I was attracted to when I was in high school that I wanted to, and if I would have, if any one of the ones that I was attracted to, that if I would have had a kind of relationship with or did anything with, I'd have told somebody. Somebody would have known, and then that person would have told somebody else. And it happened in my high school. Some teacher got caught. It was a guy who was inappropriate with a young girl. But the truth always comes out there. What goes on in the dark is gonna come out in the light. Am I right about it? So if this happens. So for this to happen to Harvey Weinstein, Aziz Ansari, R. Kelly, and you name it, all these aggressive men, all these accused men who were accused of being aggressive or sexually assaulting women, odds are there's a woman out there who did the same thing. and I'm surprised that it hasn't been more by now. Because look at the level that is always being reported on the news when it's a teacher-student situation. There are a lot of powerful women out there, and a lot of women who have been accused of sexual assault. There was a woman who had a machete to her ex-boyfriend and made him have sex with her and stuff. I mean, it happens. So I'm just surprised that I'm not saying that I want these things to be happening and that I want that, but if it has happened, the story should come out. Don't be accused. Hey, look. I used to work overseas in Iraq for KBR. When I first got there, we didn't have our own private living quarters yet. We were all in what was called a chicken coop, where it was a long metal container, like housing with inside it was like 6 dividers on one side and 6 dividers on the left side, 6 dividers on the right side with beds in between. So 6 beds on this side, 6 beds on that side, and it was all guys. We were all in there. And they carried we were working in Iraq, so it was hot as hell. So and at night they cranked the indoor AC like to sub-zero. I remember one time I was trying to stay warm, but I was cold as hell. I had a sheet instead of a blanket, and I was freezing my balls off. So I needed to warm up. So I went outside, to stand out in the porch to warm myself up. And there was a guy. It was an older guy. I don't know the guy's name. He was an old weird guy. He was smoking a cigarette out there. And I just came out there to warm up. I was like, just warm my shoulders up. And he goes, oh yeah, coming out warm. I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, it's cold in there, man. So, so I had to come out and warm up. And he has a cigarette on. He's like, you can tell. I guess he was testing me. So I guess he thought I was a mark or whatever, right? So he goes, I was like, yeah, I'm shooting real cold. He was like, oh yeah, you're cold, huh? Okay. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, this dude sidles up next to me right behind me, starts rubbing me on my shoulders. And he's like, yeah, you like that? I'm like, the fuck are you doing? Yeah, I freak out. Like, well, no, I'm uncomfortable with that, dude. That's okay if that's who you are, but don't do that, to me. And I told him right there to me, I'm sorry, get kind of lonely. I'm like, all right, I don't want to hear that. And I went right back in the room, went right there to sleep, like as if I just saw Candyman. And freaked me out. And anytime I saw him, and he avoided me like the plague. Like he kept his eyes down. He was, he had that don't tell nobody look. Oh, man, you don't think I told? I went to the very first day, dude. That dude tried to rub my shoulders. Man, what's wrong with that guy? And then the guy I told was like, I knew something was up with that dude, man. Oh man, like guys are acting weird, man. What's going on? I'm like, nothing ever happened to him. He didn't get jumped or beat up, or I didn't report him to HR and anything because it was like my first or second day there. I didn't know what was going on and whatnot. Hell, I didn't even know where HR was at the time. That was my second day there. I was in Iraq. I didn't know how these people were, what was going to happen, whatnot. I knew I was going to get my own private living quarters eventually. A couple of days later, I did, and never saw the dude ever again. And I was out there for 6 years. I never saw that guy ever again. But am I ashamed to tell that story? No. I mean, could it have been worse? Heck yeah, it could have been real bad if it would have been in a different situation. Who knows what that guy was capable of, right? I mean, it wouldn't have been easy I wouldn't have made it easy for him. You test me all you want to. It's gonna be a fight. But it was embarrassing and all that other stuff, and frightening and all, at the same time. So, but I'm telling you the story. I mean, I'm publicly speaking about it for the first time in my life. Because it happened. I don't know the guy's name. I can't prove it, and nothing that. Luckily for me, nothing bad happened. Right. But there it is. So even it can happen to anybody. And my question is, when it's a situation where, because we already see like a similar situation with Terry Crews, who was assaulted by a producer, and he accused him and said, hey, this guy did this thing to me right in front of his wife. And 50 Cent made fun of him like a dumbass. But when the situation is a woman doing this to a man, what will the movement do? Will they respond the same way? I don't know. I mean, hopefully they will, because it's about consistency. You cannot show favoritism like that. That's not what feminism is about. You can't protect her if she's guilty of this because she's a woman. That's the opposite of feminism, and that's sexism right there. You're not trying to fight for equality. You're trying to tip the scales. And you can't do that. So that's my thoughts about it. What are your thoughts about that? That's all I'll share about it. What do you think about my story? I shared it out here. Do you have any similar situation? Do you want to get that out there? Let me know, and I'll just talk about it. Put it in the box. Comment below, and let's just move on to the next.